reported a friend of singer David has been arrested after allegedly failing to appear as a witness in a Los Angeles courtroom. According to TMZ, well-known streamer Neo Langston was taken into custody in Montana with the help of local authorities who were assisting the LAPD.
NBC4 Investigates has learned that a friend of singer David has been detained in another state. David, as you know, has been identified in November as a suspect in connection with the death of Celeste Rivas. The 15-year-old remains were found in September inside of a Tesla at a tow yard in Los Angeles. That Tesla is registered to the singer David.
So remember David and Celeste? David's the famous singer and Celeste was the 14-year-old girl that was found in the front of his car. Well, there's been an update. I know I've done 4 or 5, maybe even 6 videos on this, but the case has been going so long. There's finally been some sort of movement and update. Stay tuned, Fugitive TV. Welcome to Fugitive TV. I am your host, Ray Marcel, where we take a look at cases from either unsolved mysteries, missing people, cases that haven't been solved yet, pretty much. And what we do is we take a look at it from a different perspective. We take a look at it from my perspective because I was once a fugitive on the run from the law. That's why it's called Fugitive TV. Now I'm a motivational speaker, author, book writer. I have a book coming out soon about my life. And what I'm trying to do is motivate and show the next person that, hey, if I can do it, you can do it too. Well, right now we're going to take a look at the David and Celeste situation. So for those of you, for you people that don't know about this situation, I don't know how you don't know, but there's could be some of you people out here that don't know about it. David and Celeste. So David is a famous singer, okay? And I don't know what kind of category you want to put him in, but he pretty much got discovered on Fortnite. That was how he got discovered, okay? Fortnite, the video game. And he's been blowing up lately, especially now since this case happened. Well, Celeste Hernandez is a 14-year-old girl. Well, she would have been 15. She would have been 15, so remember that. So Celeste was a girl where she was found in the trunk of his Tesla, or I should say the front part of it, okay? Now, David was on tour and his Tesla, which is a Model X, was parked outside of his home in Hollywood Hills. And the car was parked there for a long time, so it ended up being towed because of accumulated parking tickets. Goes to the tow yard, and then what happens at the tow yard, there's a smell coming from the car, and they call police. Police come and they find the body of Celeste. Now, this happened way back in, I forgot because it's been so long. This happened September 8th. 2025. So that's been what, October, November, December, 4 months ago. This is still going on. No arrests have been made. No, nothing pretty much, okay? Whatsoever. So even though this girl's body was found in his vehicle, not only was the body found in the vehicle, the body was also not all together. It was dismembered in certain parts. There's a bunch of speculation of this and that, but it was dismembered in certain parts, wrapped in a bag. I know if it was me, I'm going to jail as soon as they find the body. If it's you, you're probably going to jail too. But some reason David is still out here kicking, playing video games, shopping at Target, aka Target. But so what happened recently is David's best friend, some people are calling him a romantic lover. We don't know. You decide. David's best friend by the name of Leo Langston, okay, was just arrested a couple days ago. They found him hiding in Montana at his mom's house, okay? So he was in Montana, his mom's house, hiding out. And they went and found him and arrested him. Now, the reason they arrested him is because of he had a warrant for his arrest out of California. And it's dealing with the Celeste case. Now, the warrant is not for him, let's say they're charging him or accusing him of doing something that we don't know of. The warrant was because he didn't show up to court to testify to the grand jury. So What they're doing right now, as of last November, I just didn't make a video of it because was like maybe a few sentences. So California, Los Angeles right now is they're in the middle of doing a process holding a grand jury. A grand jury decides if there's enough evidence to prosecute a certain individual. That's pretty much what a grand jury does. Now, he didn't show up. He was supposed to testify. Let's take a look at this.
He's reportedly being held without bond and is being transferred to Los Angeles. This comes as an LA County grand jury reportedly moves toward indicting David in the of Celeste Rivas Hernandez. The teenager's body was found in the trunk of the singer's Tesla last year. No charges have been filed as of yet.
All right, so this right here is from SF Investigates. SF stands for Steve Fisher. Steve Fisher was hired by the landlord, or I should say the homeowner, where David was living at. Okay, so the house that David was living at, he didn't buy it; they were renting it out, and he wasn't the one that was actually on the lease. It was David's manager who was on the lease, renting it out for David. So when all this happened, of course, the landlord found out, or the owner found out. They terminated the lease, so David had to move out. But after David moved out, the owner hired Steve Fisher to do some private investigation work because he was curious. So Steve Fisher has been all over this case. Now, what he put was the arrest of Neil Langston for failure to appear to give testimony, which are the exact words used by the sheriff's department when speaking with me, concerns me to a certain extent, assuming this arrest is related to the Celeste Rivas Hernandez case. Targets are not typically called to testify in a case at the state level. Target letters are not always required, but subpoenaing a target without providing notice is extremely risky. A defense attorney would likely argue that any testimony was coerced. Had Neil received a target letter, he almost certainly would have retained counsel and invoked his Fifth Amendment right. Now, for you guys don't know what he means by a target letter. So when they have these grand juries, I explained them in a couple videos of some other cases, but a grand jury is different than a trial jury. Totally different. What a grand jury is, it's a jury of regular people, citizens, of the community. And what they're doing is they're sitting and they're listening to the prosecution present evidence. And the prosecution is basically going to say why this individual or individuals should be charged. And then the grand jury will either decide, hey, there is enough evidence for this person to be charged, take them to court. Or there's not enough evidence, sorry, don't charge them. That's what the grand jury does. Now, some states have this, some states don't. Some states, there's no grand jury whatsoever. So the prosecutor, if they feel like there's enough evidence, they'll just put a warrant out for your arrest. What's messed up about a grand jury is when there is a grand jury, the person that they're talking about, the defendant, is not there whatsoever. And that's what he meant by targets. That's the target. The prosecution's target is the person they're trying to get, charged, right? So the target is usually not there. And the reason why the target is not there, because they don't want to give that person a heads up or clue like, hey, we're trying to press charges on you and this is the evidence we have. Because if you know that, now it's going to be easier for you to hire an attorney, easier for you to fight it, and you're free. You're not in jail right now. Easier for you to even maybe clear up or clean up some evidence before those charges come about. So that's what he meant by target. Now, when it comes to Neil, was he a target? Do they have evidence on him? We don't know. He could be a witness, or Neil could be somebody they're trying to give immunity to, as in Neil was part of it, but they're going to say, hey, Neil, please work with us, testify against David, and don't worry, you won't serve any jail time, just whatever they want to say to him, okay? Now, Steve does say, did one person act alone in concealing Celeste's body? If this was a homicide, did a single individual act alone without a conspirator? I find that unlikely. This leads me to believe that Neil may represent a last-ditch effort by prosecutors, a Hail Mary of sorts, because they do not yet have what they need to fully make the case. They may be attempting to pressure him into cooperating, potentially by offering immunity. Is Neil the last hope? Now, Of course, if Neo got subpoenaed to court and they're good friends, or some people might say more than that, of course, Neo has probably gave David the heads up, like, hey, they're going to subpoena me to court. And then Neo's probably like, you know what, I ain't going to court. And I'm not saying that's what he did, but I'm saying, hey, I could see that conversation taking part because it sounds like Neo could be a key person in this. I mean, what do you guys think?
By the way, this jail is out in Montana, population about 70,000. The jail is in Helena. It's the capital city. It's almost 1,200 miles from LA, so we think about that. Now, why is this also important? It's important based on our past reporting. Because as we previously discussed on Sidebar, TMZ reported that with this grand jury apparently being in panel, there was a discussion, an alleged discussion outside the courtroom about an uncooperative witness. Okay, we go back to a conversation that may have happened in December between Deputy District Attorney Beth Silverman, who we believe may be spearheading this case, and attorney Evan Jennis. And Jennis represents apparently both a witness, so maybe Neo Langston, and Robert Morgenroth. Now, Robert Morgenroth is apparently the head of David's touring company and a manager of his label. We previously reported that Morgenroth has been potentially questioned, and we previously reported that Morgenroth had been questioned in front of this grand jury. Obviously, we don't know anything officially. Authorities aren't going to confirm it, but that's based a lot on the reporting, including from TMZ. So if you have an uncooperative witness, and now you have Neo Langston being arrested out in Montana, potentially for failure to appear as a witness, you put two and two together, we're starting to see what might be going on here. Now,
NBC4's Rob Kovacic live right now with details about David's friend and why he's now in a jail in Montana. Robert.
No longer in a jail, Colleen, but we're going to get to that in just a minute. Let's talk about this guy. His name is Neo Langston. He's a well-known streamer, we're told, and NBC4's Investigates has confirmed he was arrested and jailed yesterday in Helena, Montana, for an out-of-state warrant. Now, that warrant is from LA County, and we have learned it is in connection for not showing up as a witness in a grand jury hearing. Sources are telling NBC4 Investigates that grand jury hearing is in relation to the death of 15-year-old Celeste Rivas. Now, 23-year-old Langston is friends with David, who's been identified as a suspect in the Lake Elsinore girl's death. Her decomposed remains were found in September, as you mentioned, inside of a Tesla at a tow yard in Los Angeles. Law enforcement sources are telling NBC4 News her remains were not found intact. Now, what happened to Celeste Rivas and why? Still part of an ongoing investigation. A law enforcement source telling NBC4 Investigates David has not been cooperative in this investigation.
So I explained to you exactly what a grand jury does. Like I said, some states have it, some states don't. And the states that don't have it, the prosecutor thinks there's enough evidence, they're just going to charge you and you're going to get a warrant for your arrest. And then some states, they present the evidence to a grand jury and they decide from there, if the person should pretty much get charged or not. Well, I told you guys when I was reading what Steve Fisher said, I don't believe they have enough evidence, and that's why they're doing this, or the evidence they do have is circumstantial. Now, I don't understand, though, is if she is found in his property and not put together, found in pieces, let's say, I don't understand how they cannot charge him with something because, after all, she's in his property. Let's say if they found a kilo of coke in the trunk of your car, you think you're not going to jail? And let's say that kilo of coke is chopped up individual 8 balls and all that. Oh, you're going to jail with distribution and everything else. So why is it this young girl was found and there's still no charges or no justice has been served for her? Now, in this situation, like I said, I've made videos before of this. This might be my 7th video. I don't even remember. But I talked with some of the neighbors of Celeste before. And basically, they told me allegedly that David was paying people off that knew about him being with her. Because if you don't know the whole backstory, David and Celeste knew each other. If you don't know the story, okay? David started talking to Celeste back when she was only 11 years old on Fortnite. Now, David right now is 21, okay? So that would have made him around 17, 18, but still talking with an 11-year-old, okay? Now, Celeste kept running away from home, And the reason why Celeste kept running away from home, she would go be with David at his house. All right. Now, when they found Celeste in the front, or I should say the front of the Tesla, she was actually reported missing at that time. Supposedly, nobody knew where she was at. Supposedly. But from the people I spoke with, everybody knew where she was at. They knew she was with David. They knew that she was, chilling and hanging out with David. David would bring her to parties. There's speculation and rumors that David not just bring her to parties, David would bring her and also some of her family members to parties on top of that. So people knew what she was doing, even though she was reported missing. The talk is she really wasn't missing. She was just young, 13, 14. Okay. Now, you would also ask, why isn't David being charged, at least with being with a person of that age, right? Well, when I spoke with the people I spoke with, one of the reasons they're saying is the family members were getting certain benefits allegedly. Now, if these family members are getting certain benefits, let's say if they were being paid anything like that, that could be a reason of why they're not speaking out. It could be a reason of why they're not saying certain things, because now they will look bad too. That's if this is true. Another reason is some of the witnesses have to come forward and say something. Think about it. Celeste is not here. So she can't point the finger and say, David did this to me. David coerced me. David did this. He lured me in when I was younger. She's gone. So now it has to be the voice of somebody else to say this if David's not, admitting this. Now, right now, they're saying he's not being cooperative. So he's probably not going to admit it. And this could be a reason of why they want Neo to testify and be a witness, because he might have been right there or there during all of this and seen how close the situation was. Now, if Neo says, yes, he was 19 and with this young girl at the time who's underage, that's a charge. And now David could possibly get charged for that, go to jail, go to prison, and has to register as an offender for the rest of his life. So this could be very well possible. Um, there's a lot of, when this case first came out, a lot of evidence from the Reddit investigators, all kind of things that just got brought up into light. We know for a fact that David and Celeste knew each other. We know for a fact they were hanging out with each other. Why? Because there's pictures and videos and everything with them together, even while she was underage. We know for a fact that David and Neo are really good friends. Some people would say romantic friends because there's pictures and videos of them being together. And also some people exposed some text messages. Now, they want Neo to testify. They can't really force you to. They can't force you to open your mouth. You can plead the fifth. You can do whatever you want. And if you don't want to talk, you just go to jail, sit in jail for a little bit. Okay. But they can't technically force you. Now, if they want Neo, his best friend, to testify, do you think that Neo knows something? And two, do you think that they're going to give Neo, or trying to give him like a break? Like, if you tell on David, no matter what you did, it's clear. That's something I would be actually, curious about, is if they have Neo on something or not, and is maybe hearsay evidence, with him too. But I figure I'd bring you that update. Now, Neo has been bonded out. As soon as he got him back, he was extradited from Montana to California. As soon as he got back, he was bonded out, I believe, on a $50,000 or $60,000 bond. Yeah, it was a high bond just for not showing up to court to testify. Very high bond. But they knew he would have the money. So he is bonded out right now. But I mean, if they're doing this grand jury on David, do you think that there's going to be some arrest coming soon, at least with him? Or you think they're just doing all this just to blow some smoke and be like, we're doing something and nothing's ever going to come about it? I really hope that something comes about with justice for Celeste. Yes, Celeste was out running the streets, but I feel if her family was there, I mean, she's only 13, 12 years old, 14. I know my daughter's not going to be out running the streets at that age. Nope, not me. I'm going to be in that car and I'm going to be getting her back to where she came from and she's coming home. So I don't know how the rest of these people run their household. But for me, some of this blame has to go with the responsibility of her family too. And I'm not using no filter in this, because if they knew where she was at with this grown man, if they knew, I'm not saying it shouldn't have happened to her, but I'm saying everybody involved has to take some sort of accountability or responsibility in the situation. So you guys let me know, what do you think? Do you think David's finally going to go down? Hey, a lot of us hope so. For you guys who are returning, thank you for subscribing, liking, always commenting, everything. And for you guys that are new to the channel, please like, subscribe. You will not be disappointed. This is Fugitive TV. Till next time, I'm out.